Hi everyone, I just wanted to let you know before this video starts that for those of you asking about when my shop is back open, it is now open. It opened today, Saturday the 16th of October, and it's going to be open probably until around December, you know, for the Christmas period, just so that everything has enough time to arrive if you wish to purchase anything, which I very greatly appreciate, as you know. So these are all of the new products. These are all cards, and I have mentioned them in my haul video, I think, but some of them are going to be in packs of 5. So all of these ones here are all going to be packs of 5. So you've got the red stars, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, the red hearts and the green stars. So apart from the Happy Birthday ones, those ones are all kind of designed for Christmas. And then you can buy those all individually as well, but these are also all of the other individual cards that you can purchase. So they all come with an envelope as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Just wanted to let you know, because I know some of you have been asking, because I did close my shop from around September time until now, mid-October. So yeah, as always, I'll leave the link in the description if you're interested. Thank you, and yeah, now on with the video. Hi everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. In today's video I'm going to be showing a tutorial of how I coloured the bokeh background, the autumnal one that I did in Meine Reise durch Europa by Rita Berman. It was this picture, which I did just this past month in September, and when I put it on Instagram, I put it on a reel actually. I got quite a few questions about it, so I thought that it would be fun to do a tutorial for you, and it's also good for me because it means that I will have this video to refer back to should I need to. So this is what the final result looks like. We're mainly going to be focusing on how I actually do the bokeh style effect. It's not a proper bokeh background, it's kind of just my interpretation of it, because I have just put the circles wherever I want to, and I haven't done it it's not as complex as it should be, I don't think, but I don't mind that. I actually really like how it came out. It took me quite a while the first time I did it because I hadn't really done it before, and then I transferred it over to this page, and yeah, I'm really chuffed with it. So the kind of main thing with this is that I centre all of the circles round the objects and then make the rest of the background just kind of the colour. So yeah, that's how we're going to be doing it. So what I'm going to do is just show you the pencils I'm using, and then we will get down to starting to actually colour it. I want it to be quite a concise tutorial for you, because sometimes I can go on a bit, and I just want to try and make it as simple and accessible as possible. So that's the goal, bearing in mind I haven't coloured it since this picture, so we'll see. We're going to be using, well, I'm going to be using this postcard from Clara Markova's I Believe in Fairies colouring postcards to colour on and test out this technique. So I'm going to be doing probably this portion of the background. It depends how long it takes me, I might do more, but I thought this would be the best portion of it because it's the area of the background with the largest space. There are other bits, but it's not quite as good as this side, so I think we'll stick to this bit for now, see how long it takes me. And this is cardstock card, but it works the same on lots of papers, and also you can adapt this tutorial to any colours you want. So even though I'm doing a kind of brown orangey colour, you can absolutely change it to any colours you want. So I will show you the colours and tell you how you can transfer them if you would like to. So the colours that I'm using are all from the Black Widow pencils. Again, don't worry if you don't have them. I'm going to be swatching them up here for you so you can see. Actually, no, I'll swatch them on the inside of the paper. So if I just zoom you in a bit so you can see. So I've only got 6 colours, which is a minor miracle for me because usually I go crazy with the amounts and it just takes me a lot longer. So the fewest amount of pencils you can possibly have, the better really, and I probably could have not used one of these, but 6 is quite good for me. So I'm just going to show you them from darkest to lightest. So we have Rusty from the Monarch set. This is the newest set. This is a very warm type of brown colour. We then have Foxy Brown from the Black Widow set. That's going to be very hard to see because it's red. And this is kind of similar, but just not as red in tone. We then have, actually, no, it'll be this one. We have Dark Tan, which is from the Scorpion set. Again, which is lighter and a bit more yellow. We then have Stink Bug from the Black Widow set, which is very, very similar to Dark Tan. So in hindsight, I probably didn't need that. We have Sunset from the Cobra set, which is completely different, and I will talk about how you can translate that with other colours. And finally we have Pastel Lemon from, oh, I didn't say, the Scorpion set. Okay, so these are the colours, and you can't really tell a difference between these two. So yeah, you probably don't need the Stink Bug and the Dark Tan, but I decided to use both of them. So I'll give you an example if it was a different colour palette. So if I was going for, let's say, blues, and I wanted to do a blue colour palette, I would make sure that I had my light blue as the lightest, and then an indigo blue for the darkest, for example. And then you want something for this orange. I mean, it's not showing up as bright. This is a very vibrant orange. It's not as brown as it's coming up. You want something completely different. So for this, I might put maybe a turquoise teal sort of colour to, you know, contrast a little bit. And then these colours are kind of your three that just blend together really well. So you would then want your kind of you know, you're slightly lighter, your medium, and your light, but nowhere near as light as this one. So this one might be your sky blue, for example, from Prisma, and this might be your indigo blue from Prisma. And then you want three kind of middle ones that are quite close together in shade, and then your turquoise, or your colour that's offsets the palette and is completely different. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like I haven't said that very well, but yeah, anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. So I'm going to zoom out for you. Now, I have written down the order of what we're going to be doing. So if you want to pause here and just take note, or, you know, if you're following this and you just want it written down, this is the order. And I've just put where we kind of do the steps. So you'll see here that I've got 2 blending steps, and for the blending for my picture first time round, I actually use Zest It Blend. So if you're outside of the UK, you may not have heard of this before, but this is basically an odorless mineral spirit, but it's not. It's it works the same, but it's a lot safer, and it smells zesty basically. And yeah, it's made in the UK, so I don't think you can get it anywhere else, but this is fantastic. Purely for this, I'm actually not going to be using this to blend, because I find that my favourite way to blend on this particular card is using the Derwent blender pens, and also these are a little bit more precise, so again, that's good for smaller areas. So I would definitely recommend you know, using whatever you like to blend. If that's a blender pencil, always, you know, use what you want to use. I just find these are better for the type of look I want. I kind of go for a watercolory faded type effect for this particular background. So the Derwent blender pens, I'm really hoping this will still work. Yeah, this is basically the blending medium in a pen. So this is the fine tip and this is the broader tip. So I'll probably be using the fine tip. So that's the tool. And that's everything. So I am again going to zoom in, and we are going to get started on this area, as I said. So what I'm firstly going to do is a light, where is it? Yeah, a light base with my Dark Tan. I always like to do light bases of colour pencil, because I find that it just helps to blend everything together when you come to doing it. There may be parts of this video where I choose to speed up my colouring, just because if it's a step like this it might take me quite a while, and as I said, I want it to be nice and you know, easy and concise for you. So yeah, if it suddenly speeds up, that's why. Okay, so one thing to note as well about this is that I will eventually put a halo of yellow around this candle, but I'm just going to ignore that for now. So it's so light that you can barely see it, but I'm hoping if I bring it closer you can just see that it's kind of scratched the surface of the tooth of the paper. This is a very light layer, and it's just your starting point. So that's the dark tan. I'm now going to go in with Foxy Brown, and the purpose of this initial layer is just to gauge where your shadows are going to be. So with this, I'm just going to put the shadows around the leaves, anywhere where I feel there would be shading, so around her as well. And I'm using really, really light pressure. This is just your initial layer. You don't want it to be very dark, because that will come later. So once this is blended out, it will end up looking really light again. So it's just your foundational layer really. If you want to skip the step you can, but I just find that it does give a nice effect to it. And also when you do the bokeh effect, you end up with some of this really light colour of the brown kind of left behind as well. So I'm not going to put this absolutely everywhere. I don't think I'll put much kind of by her, you know, on the outline of her wings. I'm kind of going to leave it. So hopefully you get the gist of what I'm doing. I'm just going to speed up my process for the last part of outlining this leaf. So once I've finished with the Foxy Brown, as you can see, we're going to go back to the dark tan. And I do this a lot. If I've just put a colour down, I like to go back and go over it, just to kind of meld them together a little bit. And I'm hardly touching the pencil to the paper really. This is a step you probably could miss out. If you're not big into layering, you could easily skip this if you want to. I find it just helps with the blending process, especially with a blender pen, where sometimes if your lines are a bit harsher, it doesn't blend as seamlessly. Whereas with a blender pencil, you can kind of make up for, you know, not having it completely blended together. So that's a lot quicker. It's not as much work as when you first put it down. So this is now the first layer done, and I'm going to blend it all together now. I'm going to use my finer tip. I may actually decide to switch. The only thing with this is that it does tend to get quite dirty. You have to clean them quite a bit, and also the finer tips tend to be a bit drier. So I might see how it goes. Should be all right. It is just quite a dry tip in comparison to the bigger one, so I may switch halfway through. But yeah, with this I'm just blending the colours together. It's as simple as that. And so whatever your preferred method is for blending, you go ahead and blend this layer just to bring those first colours together, ready for the next stage. I'm just going to bring it up to, yeah, I think I'm going to switch to the other one because this is pretty much running out now. Now, the only thing I'm a little bit worried about is this is a very juicy pen, and I don't want it to be too juicy. So I'm just going to finish blending these colours together and I will be back shortly. Okay, so that's done now. I did end up letting it dry, and I kept switching pens as well because it is fully dry now. So I'm using the bigger nib, which means I just need to wait for it to soak into the card. So next step, we're now going to be adding the Bokeh circles. So we're still using Foxy Brown and Dark Tan. These are kind of the foundational colours that you use at the start. So with this, it's very much just picking where you want them to go. There's no method to how you do this. The only thing is you kind of want different shapes. So, well, sizes I should say. So the biggest circles I do are kind of that. And then I do some smaller ones as well. Really depends on what kind of look you are going for. So I'm just going to simply outline some circles. And I find that I like to collect them around objects. So I don't just do them in the middle. I always do them around things that are there, as you will have seen from my other picture. So for the moment, as I said, I am just outlining, and then I will go back and shade around them a little bit. So that's probably enough up there. Do one down here. Okay, so that's pretty much done. I think I've probably got enough there, maybe even too many, but that's all right. Actually, now I've said that, I may just get rid of one of them. No, it's all right, I'll leave it. So now all I'm going to do, and this is still with the Foxy Brown, I'm just going to shade around the circles that I've just created. And this is very rough shading, it doesn't have to be feathered out or anything. It's just to outline what we've already done. You don't want to shade in though, you want to shade out. So from the outline out, just to define them a little bit more. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to continue that for the rest of them. Okay, so following on from that, I'm just going to do the exact same thing in terms of the shading, but with the dark tan. So I'm just going to follow on from those areas that I have already put down. And now I am feathering just a little bit more to pull the colour into the areas. So this is harder pressure than what we did on the initial layers. So this is where the colour starts to build more, and you'll see that as we keep adding more colours, the area concentrated around the Bokeh circles is darker compared to the rest of it. So the layer that we put down at first will just fade away into the background. Okay, so as you can see, we've still got the really nice kind of brown colour left on the Bokeh circles instead of stark white, which I really like. So that's done. We're now going to be moving on to Sunset. This is the colour that kind of changes it a bit because it's orange compared to the browns. So all we're going to do with this is put a very light touch of it, again, around the areas, only the areas that we've put the circles in. So the orange doesn't go everywhere. It's just there to add interest to the circle areas. In hindsight, with this being quite a busy postcard anyway, it's probably not the most appropriate background for it, but hopefully it should be quite nice. I mean, I haven't finished everything else yet, so I don't know. But I really like this background. Okay, so that's done. That's nice and easy. Same thing with the pastel lemon now. This is going to be the last colour, and we're just going to do the exact same thing. Just pull the orange in a little bit. And you're probably not going to use a lot of this just because it's very different from everything else and we don't want it too yellowy. So that's all for that. Now I'm going to blend again. So this is the second layer of blending. I forgot to put blend actually on the card for the first time round. Sorry about that. So what you want to do with this blend is still make sure that the circles are defined. So you want to colour around them, making sure that you can still see them. But the whole point of the third layering process is that that will help to just bring the circles out again. Because blending does tend to kind of smear lines that you may have created. Okay, so that's done. Now we come to the third part. So as I said, there is meant to be a blending bit here. Apologies. It's really up to you whether you want to blend at that stage, but I always kind of prefer to. Okay, so yeah, last blending stage. All we've got now is Rusty and Stink Bug. So these are colours that we haven't used yet, but they help to create a really nice balance of colour. So again, with the Rusty, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the Dark Tan and the Foxy Brown. Just outline again all of these circles. So hopefully you get the idea. So I'm going to speed this bit up. Okay, and finally we're going to go in with Stink Bug. This is with fairly hard pressure in comparison to the light pressure that we just used with Rusty. And you're just blending in, merging together the Rusty colour with the existing background. So this is pretty much the same as Dark Tan, except this is a little bit more dark and obvious. Okay, so it's pretty much done now. It's just time for the final blend to merge everything together. Then I'm going to grab my blending pen. And it's done. So this is pretty much the finished result. I mean, I might always go in and just top it up a little bit with various colours if I think it needs it, but for now I'm calling this done. And yeah, I think obviously because I'm not right in front of it, it's a little bit harder to tell, but that's the basic tutorial really. So let's have a look at the two compared. This one's probably a little bit more yellowy. That could be to do with the Zest It blend, or you know, the paper or the card and how it reacts, but I really like it and I'm hoping that I use this a lot more in future. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it's helped in some way. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, let me know if you do it. I'd love to see. You can always reach out and email me or tag me on Instagram. Yeah, it would mean a lot. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Take care everyone, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!